So first of all, I really appreciate you agreeing to appear on Erbil edition. The aim of our podcast is to put the spotlight on Erbil and everything in the Kurdistan region through the eyes of people like yourself who are here on a diplomatic mission or travel or live here or in any other way. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to join this. And as I said, apologies for bringing you to this place, because I saw you already did some very nice short movies in beautiful nature, and now, well, here you are in the consulate.
This is very good lighting and nice decoration.
Good.
And the films or the podcasts that I do with people in nature, we often talk about nature. Like I did an episode with a researcher from the Czech Republic who has written a book on the snakes of Kurdistan.
Yeah.
So I thought, if we talk about snakes, we might as well talk about snakes in a natural world.
Right.
So let's start with your recent trip to Germian and Halabja. I saw some of your posts on social media and on the web page that you had gone to Germian, Halabja, and Suleymaniye.
Yes, indeed.
And I was in Halabja also yesterday and the day before. I am from Halabja. What did you see in Halabja, or why were you there in Halabja?
Well, to be honest, as a team, we split up. So I was not... I was not in Halabja, but I joined a trip to Suli and to Kalar, and we visited some of the things that are really important for us as a consulate. So that's businesses, Dutch or Kurdish entrepreneurs that are doing business here, are trading with the Netherlands. So we look how we can further support them. But we also visited some of the, well, I should say, very inspiring projects where we help young people. We support students in developing their entrepreneurial skills. So that was both in Halabja and in Kalar. We attended the program Co-Create My City, where we encourage young people to come up with solutions for local problems. And that was actually very inspiring to see. And it's something that we do on a broader scale, but we also do it there. And for me, it's very important not only to be in Erbil. I know the show is about Erbil, but to also visit the other places, Zaghal, Halabja, Duhok. So
That youth program is only specific to Germian or everywhere in the Kurdistan region?
No, so the Co-Create My City, it's in a couple of places. Chamchamal, Rania, Germian, Kalar, Halabja, Duhok, I believe. So that's in different places, different universities. But for example, we also have Orange Corners. That's also, it's similar, where we help young students who have bright business ideas. We help them to develop these ideas further, because having a good idea itself doesn't make any more money and doesn't create any work.
Exactly.
But through our implementing partner, we help them to work on this business idea. And that's something that we do in Erbil.
So do you help them to the point of developing the idea, or also there is support afterwards if one of them, for example, wanted to start a business?
Exactly. So we help them. So basically the first phase is from scratch, or from an idea to an idea that's actually where you're able to create a startup. So thinking about, okay, well, what do I need, and who do I need to contact, and how do I make this business proposal even better? So that's the first phase. And then some of them, they continue towards the second phase, we call it the accelerator phase, where our implementing partner helps them with looking at, okay, you're running a small business now, but what are the hurdles? What are the things the challenges you're facing? We help them there. So it could be about finance, could be about legal staff, employees. So we help them there. And then on top of that, and that's also through our implementing partners, there's also the Orange Corners investment funds, and there's support from local organizations to actually invest in these startups. So some of them might actually grow to become
big businesses.
Big business, and that's really what we hope. At the same time, we also see a lot of challenges there, because I think when it comes to the startup climate, there's a lot of good initiatives here, but we could do more and could be better.
Orange Corners is a Dutch project or initiative?
Worldwide. So that's what I also, last week I attended one of the kickoff meetings, and I told them, you become part of a bigger network now, because Orange Corners is worldwide. There's like 4,000 alumni that have established, quite a diverse group of businesses.
Okay, so this was in Germian is also, you might have noticed, is a very agricultural area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, did you have that impression, or do you have agricultural projects supporting anything in Germian?
Yes, so we have a cooperation there, and it's actually something that we've been doing for quite a while now. There's a very strong cooperation when it comes to agriculture between the Netherlands, Dutch companies, and the Kurdistan region of Iraq. I also visited a farm there. I visited a farm in Suli, and in different fields. So milk, potatoes. It's I've seen too many potatoes over the last couple of weeks, but it's a very successful part of our cooperation. So 15 years ago, there was an annual harvest of 2,000 tons here, which was not even close to enough for the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Now, currently, the annual harvest is 650,000 tons.
Yeah, I saw that.
This growth is incredible.
That's a huge increase from 2,000 tons to 650,000 tons.
Indeed.
And then I think it's all imported, right?
No.
Exported, I mean, sorry.
A lot of it is exported, some of it. So that's also one of the things that we worked on, making chips here. So building a chips factory with Dutch support, but also obviously with investment from the Kurdistan region, from companies that are active here. It's big business. To be honest, it's big business for us, but it's also big business here. So companies, farmers, they make good money. It creates a lot of jobs. And it's actually something that we really like to do. And then it's not only about selling the seed potato. It's not about giving, you've got a lot of seed potatoes, good luck. But it's actual the cooperation and the knowledge transfer. So not only between the farmers, but also between knowledge institutes, between our government, the local government here. So that's a good example. And it's something that we try to duplicate also in other areas.
Wow. Who does you said it's not just the seed potatoes, there's your government or companies support these farmers throughout the process.
Yeah.
Who does it? Like, do you bring agricultural experts from the Netherlands?
Yes, we do. Yeah. So for example, now we have a project which focuses on the vegetables value chain. So not only, harvest or growing them and harvesting, but also what happens after that. So how do you package them? How do you process them? How do you sell them eventually? And we bring one of a Dutch consultancy firm. We pay them to give training here to farmers. And that's something, we did similar project with when it comes to potatoes, and it's also something indeed that we would like to expand. And then when it comes from government to government, for example, we help the government here to look into the policy papers when it comes to agriculture.
So because the Kurdish government has been trying in the last 5 years from the beginning of this current government to advance the agricultural sector, to diversify the economy. And as you know, Kurdistan has a lot of fertile land. And I think this is where the Netherlands government comes in the right time and place.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we really like to cooperate with them on that, and I think it's very good to have this goal of diversifying the economy. And as you said, Kurdistan region has very fertile grounds, has a long history when it comes to agriculture. So we see good opportunities here, and my job then is to engage with the government, to engage with local companies, but also to tell Dutch companies, it's great opportunities here. Do come, do invest.
How do you tell them? Like, how do you talk to or convince Dutch companies to come to? Because it's a cliche, but everyone thinks that it's a dangerous place. It's Iraq and all that. Is it easy to convince them to come?
Well, I have to show them. So it's about getting your story out through any means possible, but also showing the pictures and showing visiting the companies and making some pictures there and then showing them to the Dutch community and to the Dutch businesses, like, this is what it looks like, and we can do much more, but you have to come in and you have to invest in. And that leads to concrete questions, and then sometimes, let's say once or twice a year, we get a group of Dutch companies. And we invite them to come here, to visit, to engage with local government, to engage with local businesses, and to discuss the possibilities.
I saw in some of your statements said recently, you talked to the media. I think you went to the introduction of a new species of potato at Carrefour Market. Yep. And there you say that there is a lot that local farmers here can do that with your help and your support of the Netherlands government. What do you expect from the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, or farmers to know about how the Dutch do business, for example? when you bring some Dutch companies, what do you expect from the locals how do you expect them to act or receive them or behave, let's say?
Behave. So that I think comes to the cultural perspective, and I think that's also part of my job also to explain to the Dutch companies there are differences.
Yeah.
So I think in the Netherlands, if you're selling potatoes, or you're selling any kind of product, you just have the best product for the best price. You send an email and say, this is it, and let's have a phone call and discuss it. And where I know here it's much more important to sit down, to build a personal relation, and to build trust and understanding, and from there on work on the business. Whereas I think in the Netherlands it's quite often the other way around. You look at the product, you look at the business, and from there on
the product sells itself.
The product sells itself. Something that's also hard to understand. It's actually one of the main challenges that we face it when it comes to payment. Payment here, the banking system, it's a challenge.
Yes, that's true.
In the Netherlands, if I would transfer a lot of money to any company, it would be there in 1 or 2 minutes, and here it would take weeks. And that's something I think the Dutch companies have to understand, that it works different here. And then at the same time, companies here, they would have to understand that really is something that Dutch companies will find hard to understand.
Exactly. They expect speed.
They expect speed, and they expect, okay, we have an agreement, you do the payment now, and then I am not expecting to wait for 1 month.
Exactly, yeah. I think there are efforts now to digitalize the system and banking in Kurdistan that may help in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. Which reminds me, yesterday I was speeding a little bit, and I you see the flashing, oh, I get a traffic fine, and I'd love to pay it because as a diplomat, I still have to pay my traffic fines. Because I think that's the right thing.
I thought diplomats were exempt of everything.
If I have the opportunity, I will pay it. But even more, since I know the government is working to digitalize this process.
Yeah.
So hopefully one day I'll be able to, go to the government and just pay by card or in a digital way to pay my traffic fines. Yeah. That would really be a happy day to pay.
Exactly. It's an achievement, even though you have to pay.
Indeed.
So when it comes to agriculture, did the agricultural sector and business in agriculture, is it one of the priorities of the Dutch consulate, or there are other areas of business that you are engaged in?
Well, it is one of the focus areas, but that also, sometimes a relation develops in a certain way. So here we have a very strong name when it comes to agriculture. Also, for example, flowers. This is big part of our business, so to say, of the Dutch business here. But it doesn't mean that we focus only on that. So, for example, water management is something that we really have a big interest, and we would like to engage more.
How?
We are in a different situation. The Netherlands, we are below sea level. Yes. But water management...
The lowlands.
The lowlands. But water management is actually one of the things that we really, we've built up a lot of expertise, a lot of experience there. And you can see that water management and the lack of water is quite a challenge. So, for example, we could look into things like wastewater treatment, so that you don't use it once and then you just let it go, but that you treat it so you can reuse it. For example, in factories, that could save a lot of water. Another thing, but that's also related to agriculture. But for example, if you would use a greenhouse, you can be much more water efficient than just open soil growing of vegetables.
That's one major issue in Iraq. Is the research show, and still if you travel, you see that they still use the old style of watering a field, irrigation. They open the floodgates, basically. That's a lot of evaporation and water waste.
But at the same time, you hear very promising kinds of cooperation and examples. For example, where a potato company provides their farmers with satellite data to actually show them, okay, there needs to be a bit more water there, but instead of just opening the gates for the whole area, just focus on that specific area. So that's all you need. So these small steps, they can actually save a lot of water. And that's something, when it comes to agriculture, obviously we want to do more. We want to produce more. But it should not only be about more. So that's, for example, when it comes to dairy production, we always emphasize it should be sustainable. Yes, Iraq and the Kurdistan region of Iraq, there needs to be more production, but it has to be in a sustainable way, because otherwise you'll end up, let's say, in 20, 30 years from now,
Exactly.
in a very dry area.
Are there any actual water management projects already happening with your help or your involvement?
Well, on the federal level, there's this MOU between the Netherlands and Iraq on water management and on some concrete projects that they are starting to work on. I think when it comes to the Kurdistan region, we have some, promising leads, but as far as I know, nothing major so far.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing here, especially, as I said, more and more people are going back to agriculture, actually. Yeah. And I live personally outside the city in an agricultural area, and I see the passion of people who even abandoned farming some years ago who want to go back to it. But of course, it needs some guidance so that we can join the modern world in agriculture.
Absolutely. And there's also a challenge when it comes to education. So that's also one of the things that we invest in, to bridge the gap between, let's say, if you go to the agricultural college or university, it doesn't really prepare you to become a farmer.
Exactly, yeah.
And so you need the people to have the practical skills to do the more high-tech, mid-tech farming and to increase production. But there's a challenge there, so we also try to see how we can help there. Again, knowledge transfer, so training from the Netherlands to farmers and making sure that people, they're not only motivated but also well equipped to start that business.
Exactly. And with flowers, you said that we all know Netherlands is the, I think, biggest exporter, we can say, of flowers in the world. In Kurdistan, any flower projects? Because just 3 days ago, I saw a post online that Kurdistan is hoping to start exporting flowers to Saudi Arabia, starting with Saudi Arabia. Did you hear about that?
I've seen a very, let's say, a smaller project when it comes to local flower production, where there's some Dutch involvement there. I think we're very keen to start and do more. And also when it comes to sustainability, because at this moment, most flowers you'll buy any place in the Kurdistan region, they're from the Netherlands.
Wow. How do they get here? By plane?
By plane.
Yeah. Wow.
And there's also any, let's say, the regular plants that you could buy here. They're also from the Netherlands. They get here by truck. Wow. But still, so a lot of it is produced in the Netherlands. We've, when it comes to the production of plants, I've seen some very promising projects with local production, also with Dutch involvement, knowledge transfer. And that's actually what we want. I mean, we still want to do business, but doing it in a more sustainable way, doing it here. It helps us.
Exactly.
But it also really helps the region because it creates local jobs. And that's actually what we would really want to. So we're glad with selling flowers here, but I would be even more happier if you can bring one of the bigger companies and to start local production here.
That's what I was thinking. I guess it's you don't want a rival. No one wants a competitor to their own business. But if you could transfer the whole production and the process here, it saves time and space and energy.
Absolutely. So that's exactly the point. We want to continue doing business, but if we can do it in a more sustainable way and in a way that benefits the local community better than we do now, we're very happy to do that.
There must be demand for it. That I did not know really that their flowers and plants especially are coming from the Netherlands. There must be a demand for it. That's
Absolutely.
why. Because of the history of Dutch flowers, basically.
No, and you'll find Dutch flowers everywhere, any place all over the world. But here, indeed, there's like a lot of traffic of Dutch flowers being flown.
And we are sure they are Dutch. Oh, because they come through companies or certified people.
Yeah, it could also be. So we, for example, one of the interesting examples is Dutch flower growers being very active in Kenya or in Southern America, where there's like Dutch Kenyan companies working on producing roses, but they get sent to Aalsmeer, which is close to Amsterdam, and they get sold there, and then they're flown to Erbil. So I would still see them as Dutch flowers there.
Okay. So that still counts as if Kurdistan in the future produces flowers with a Dutch company, when it's exported, will it be labeled as Dutch flowers?
No, then I think it will be Kurdish flowers.
Ah,
Yeah. But the local demand, I would say, is high enough to keep producing for a while without exporting even.
oh, that's nice. Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. And then we have dairy.
Mhm.
I was reading on this bottle that is this a local company?
It's a local company in Alabia, Dutch cows. Actually, it's also quite interesting because it's a Dutch Kurdish entrepreneur. So, Kurdish person that went to the Netherlands, got Dutch training, Dutch passport, and eventually went back. And we have a lot of them. So we estimate there's like 8 to 10,000 people here with a Dutch passport in this Kurdistan region of Iraq.
Wow.
And many of them are quite active when it comes to business or in government. So whenever I meet a minister, usually there's a Dutch advisor there.
Someone speaks Dutch.
And that makes my work actually quite easy here, because there's so often there's a Dutch link. But also, so here it's not only the cows, but also the entrepreneur working on it, producing fresh milk.
Is it one company only producing milk or more than one?
No, so this is one example, but there's more companies like it with Dutch cows that we're active with and producing milk. But that's for sure something that we can do more. As I said, it should be in a sustainable way. But if you look at the dairy market here in Iraq, last year or 2 years ago, it was $1.5 billion with a anticipated growth of somewhere close to 3 billion in the coming years. So 3 billion.
In all of Iraq?
All of Iraq. But 90% of that is imported.
Oh.
Can you imagine? So all the yogurt, all the cheese, all the milk, almost all of it is import. And still, I mean, you've got some of the bigger local producers, but still 90% is imported.
All that money is going out?
Going out.
Wow.
Also going to the Netherlands, to be honest. So we do export some, especially milk powder and baby formula to Iraq. But most of it is imported, and which basically means whatever you produce locally, you're able to sell locally because the demand is so much higher than what's available here. And that's one of the things that we're really looking into, how to, there again, link Dutch expertise, link Dutch cows. And that's one other great example at another farm where there were Dutch cows, but there was also one Dutch expert working there. So then it's not only about, well, here I'll sell you a lot of cows and good luck with it, but I'll sell you the cows, but I'll also basically sell you the expertise, and we'll have this one expert working at your farm for a while to make sure that it actually goes well.
The business hires the expert, or you provide the expert?
That's business to business. So we are involved when there's any issues or where we have to promote a little bit. Indeed, the business in this case hires the expert.
Because that's one of the things I was going to talk to you is Dutch cows. As far back as I can remember when I was a child, and even to today, Dutch cows are very famous. Why are Dutch cows so famous? I think, is it the history or is it the climate?
Well, there are a lot of Dutch cows, that's for sure. I think why this, so most people, when they think of a Dutch cow, they think of this black and white,
Holstein.
Yeah, Friesian Holstein.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, but obviously it's something that you see quite often in the Netherlands. Actually, in the Netherlands, we have another discussion now whether we perhaps have too much cows, but that's another discussion. When it comes to the Friesian Holsteiner, it produces a lot of milk. So when it comes to, it might not be the best cow when it comes to producing meat, but when it comes to producing milk, it's, let's say, quite an effective cow.
Is it naturally producing a lot of milk, or has it been tampered with or genetically modified throughout history?
I think naturally speaking, it is a cow which has, and there I have to be honest, I'm not an expert. So my background is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but now I'm getting more into,
you have to deal with
cows. Yeah, so they have less muscles and less flesh, and they produce more milk. But then a cow itself, it does not like that produce a lot of milk. So you have to treat it well. You have to make sure that it's, being taken care of, the right temperature, which is a challenge here.
Exactly.
And for example, also that it gets the right food.
Yeah, that's true, because I hear people buying cows or sheep or other animals from abroad, and often they don't really survive.
Yeah.
For, as you said.
Yeah, and that's something for sure that we want to avoid. So that's why from a government perspective, we would not promote selling cows and just and forget about them and see what happens. So there needs to be a good link between the knowledge and the product or the animal.
So the same with the flowers, as you said, you would rather have the flowers produced here and marketed here.
Yeah.
Is it the same with dairy products? Would the Netherlands rather export dairy to Iraq and Kurdistan, or would rather have the plant here?
Well, if you look at the current market, I think that it's you can do both of them at the same time because the demand is so much higher than what's locally produced. But if I would look at it from a government perspective here, I would certainly prefer local production because indeed it creates a lot of jobs, it creates food security. So that definitely would have my preference.
Is it easy to import European Union products or Dutch products into the Kurdistan region? Because I'm not familiar with the regulation. Is it simple?
It's well, within the European Union, within the European Union, it's quite simple because you have the free movement of any goods. So is it simple? Not really simple, but there are a lot of trade is going on, and sometimes we do get some complaints or questions, but in general, I would say it's quite easy.
Here in the Kurdistan.
We get it here. Yeah.
How about Iraq? Do you have also the same type of business relations with the rest of?
But less intensive, has also to do with the security situation and the travel advice. But we also have good business with Iraq. Yeah.
And how's that means there must be good relations. I don't know how old is the Dutch consulate here, but it must be one of the early ones, right? It'd be after 2005, I think, countries started opening.
Yeah, a bit later, but we've been here for quite a while.
Yeah, one of the early ones. Yeah. Does that testify to good relations between the KRG and the Netherlands?
Absolutely, but not the consulate here itself, I would say. So Dutch soldiers were here in the 1990s when the safe haven operation was taking place in the Kurdistan.
Oh, they were part of the operation.
They were part of that operation. So over 1,000 Dutch soldiers took part in that operation. We've had refugees from this region in the 60s and 70s going to the Netherlands. As I said, many of them came back eventually, but also a lot of them stayed. So that I would say this people-to-people contact, in the most literal ways, I think the cement or the foundation.
That's true. And recently, one of the a Dutch photographer came back to Kurdistan who was here in the 70s. Yeah. And what's amazing is that they had given him Kurdish clothes in the 70s. He came back maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah. I saw the movie. Yeah, or the short movie on one of the TVs.
He was wearing the same clothes that he got 50 years ago. Yeah. Did you meet that photographer?
No, I did not meet him. No, I only saw it. I think it was one of the news channels.
Yeah, that's where I saw it too. Yeah, he had come back. And then I think during the war against ISIS, there was a lot of, the Dutch army trained the Kurdish Peshmerga in the fight against ISIS, right? Military training.
Yeah, absolutely. So back then, indeed, the fight against ISIS, still, I mean, there's Dutch soldiers being active here for the Peshmerga reform. There's a military advisor at the consulate, so we still have that ongoing military cooperation. Recently, a large group of Dutch soldiers left Iraq. The Netherlands was providing the force commander for the NATO mission in Iraq, but that's all managed by our embassy in Baghdad. So there's still some ongoing military cooperation, and that's something that we very much appreciate.
How about cultural events or cultural connections? What's your activities or involvement in the field of culture here? Anything happening?
Yes. So there's a lot of cultural cooperation and exchange going on without the direct involvement of the consulate, I should say, or with little involvement. So one interesting example when it comes to the preservation of nature is the movie Sadiq and the Panther. It's about
I know him, Mohammed Sadiq. He's a climate activist, wildlife activist in the Barzani area.
Yeah. There's a very nice documentary about that.
Is it made by someone Dutch, I guess?
Rebedowski.
Ah, okay. I thought it was only premiered in the Netherlands,
No.
but apparently
Yeah.
it was.
And so there's a couple of these projects where there's cooperation between the Netherlands and the Kurdistan region, or activists and artists here. So that's quite positive. You have the annual festivals in the Netherlands promoting culture, exchanging ideas. When it comes to culture, I'd also like to mention the Dutch National Day, King's Day,
Yes.
which is quite a big event in Erbil. Actually, I was surprised when I first got briefed about this. But
Have you been here for the Dutch National Day yet? Or
Yeah.
What day is it? What month?
It's in April, end of April.
The end of April. Yeah.
So the weather is nice.
Yeah, it's a festive month basically.
Yeah.
Spring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it the one where the two children walk towards their dad? Was it you?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. That video went viral.
I know. I know. That was not part of the deal because
Exactly.
indeed, I'm here with my family. I don't mind keeping them out of the spotlights. But at King's Day, they stormed the stage, and there was not much I could do. And I think I checked. I think a month ago, somebody showed me like the one specific video got like 10 million views. So
it became a trend, or very viral.
Yeah, but next year at King's Day, there will be somewhere
to make sure they don't storm the stage. So you were giving a speech, I think, at that moment, and did they not know that you were in the middle of some formal event?
They're too young. They didn't realize, and
wow.
I mean, there were a lot of, it's actually the prime minister was there. Well, they don't recognize the prime minister, so they were just like, oh, that's that, let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, you're right. Many of the national days of different countries who have consulates here are celebrated every year. I know the Queen or the King's birthday, the Dutch National Day, and I haven't been, unfortunately, to any of those, but
we'll make sure that happens next year.
Yeah. And how has life been in the last 6 months that you've been in Kurdistan?
Well, I very much enjoy it, and I've complaining about this one element before, but hospitality.
Just one element.
One element. So the one combination of elements. Hospitality is great. The food is really nice. Yeah, but I always end up eating too much here because the combination of the two of them. No, but seriously, I mean, I really like it. The hospitality really is unmatched.
Yeah.
I love the nature. I've had the opportunity to see a lot of places already, and I really like the mountains. Going out there, exploring nature, that's really nice. At the same time, there's a big challenge there, and also maybe it's a slight frustration when it comes to some very beautiful places that are littered with a lot of plastic.
The same people who go to enjoy nature, litter the nature.
Yeah.
So when you go out as a consul or as a diplomat, do you say the night before to your staff, I want to go to this mountain or that place, or how's the process? Is it easy to get out and go wherever you like?
Yeah, it's relatively easy. There's some restriction, but that relates to our security. So that's
Otherwise, it's, I think, safe and free wherever you may want to go in Kurdistan.
Yeah, but as I said, some restrictions, and that's also one of the things that we don't promote tourism, because the travel advice currently is from a Dutch perspective, basically avoid all but the necessary traffic. So only if you really have to be here, do go. So that means that we don't encourage tourism.
For Dutch tourists.
Yeah.
So some countries, I think, distinguish between the rest of Iraq and the Kurdistan region. They say you can't go to Iraq except the Kurdish regions. That's not the case with the Netherlands.
Same for us. So for basically Kurdistan region of Iraq, it's orange, which basically means you can only go there if it's like really necessary. And for the rest of Iraq, it's red. So basically means don't go there.
Any favorite places in the Kurdistan region, or you haven't?
Many of them. I would say Hogwarts, Mount Hogwarts, Choman area. I really like that.
Yeah.
But Ramado's really nice.
Exactly.
Many places, but especially the mountains.
Yes. And it all makes sense, really, for the Netherlands to be so involved here with trade and with cultural events. And because when I've read a lot about the Netherlands in history books, and it's one of the biggest trade countries, has been throughout history.
Yeah.
Trade has been the cornerstone of the Netherlands too. I'm sure every country can learn a lot from the Netherlands on trade.
Yeah, that might be, but at the same time, we're not only here for trade. So we, yes, business is important, but as I mentioned, there's also a big group of Dutch nationals living here. So that's also an important job for us as a consulate to provide consular assistance. So, for example, when a Dutch national ends up in prison, we do not get involved in the local judicial system. But if a person ends up in prison, we visit that person, we check on his or her well-being. But having a lot of people here with a Dutch passport also means that, once in a while, a person loses his or her passport. And then we have to provide a temporary travel document. So, the regular services to Dutch nationals, that's something that for sure we provide. At the same time, it's also interesting to have, the regular diplomatic conversations here, to learn what's going on here and what's going on in the wider region. And yeah.
Exactly. You said that there are 8,000 to 10,000 people, all Kurdish, can we say, or Iraqi, or like from here with Dutch?
Yeah, almost all of them.
Almost all, wow.
Yep.
And that makes your job easy or difficult? To
To
know you have 10,000 people here.
It makes it difficult sometimes because, as I said, some of them, they lose their passport or they get into trouble and then we have to help them. It doesn't make it difficult. It's just part of the job. So it creates work, so to say. But when it comes to building relations and getting into contact with people, it's actually quite easy. Also because the Netherlands, if you see a lot of shops here, they Holland Bazaar, Holland Flower, Holland, you name it.
Yes.
And Holland there, it doesn't always mean that there's a dialect linked with the Netherlands, but Holland also stands for quality. And that really is quite helpful. I don't have to convince people that we produce, good products, good expertise.
You just need to say it's from Holland.
Yeah.
Or Hollandia. That's very true, because in Kurdish now I remember when you say something is in Kurdish we say Hollandi, means from Holland. It's testimony to its own quality.
Yeah. So that makes work quite easier.
Yeah, but so they are all, as long as there's a Holland or something, it could be fake, but it's still is a good selling point.
Yeah. So it helps that we on the consulate also have, the Netherlands or Holland.
Exactly, Holland. Wow. And so when you came, were you in another diplomatic post before you came to Kurdistan?
Yeah. So I was in The Hague.
In The Hague.
Yeah. In our capital, or
still working for the foreign ministry.
Yeah. Yeah, with a small stint. So my latest post was at the Prime Minister's office, but before that it was all Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
And then you decided to come to Kurdistan yourself. You picked it on the map.
Well, it's always a difficult process, but I said yes, indeed. I said I really would like to go there, and then I had to wait for others to say, okay, you're allowed to go there. But indeed, I requested this specific position. Yeah.
You had to choose it between some other posts, or just?
No, I was quite sure that I wanted to go here. So
why?
Well, because to be honest, I'd never been here, but from a geopolitical perspective, it's an interesting region. It's also an interesting country, Iraq. So I work under the guidance, so to say, of our embassy. I knew about the nature here. I'd seen some movies about people skiing here, but I also knew about the let's say the positive relation between the Kurdistan region of Iraq and the Netherlands. So I really wanted to go here. And it's also helped me that my wife also wanted to go here. So
yeah, that helps. It's a family and diplomatic visit.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you so very much. This was really enjoyable.
Thank you.
And informative. Again, thank you for agreeing to come to Erbil edition. If you have anything else you would like to say, you are welcome.
Yeah, maybe one thing. And that relates, we discussed earlier on the entrepreneurship and the training that we give to youth. And I think it's something close to my heart. It's very important. But you probably read like a couple of weeks ago, this group of young guys from I think it was Rania being kidnapped in Libya.
Yes.
On their way to Europe. And to be honest, that really hurts. Because I think there's a lot of misperceptions, the idea of going to Europe and getting a better life there. Then for one, at the moment, these people, they don't get a better life because they end up in illegality. They get exploited in Europe. Life there is very bad for them. And at the same time, I try to tell Dutch entrepreneurs, like, there's a bright future here. Come and invest because there's great opportunities. And that's also the message that I would really like to share with these young people. Like, do stay here. Do invest because this is your future. And it actually is a bright future. And there's good opportunities here, but you have to work on it. And don't leave for, this funny story that some criminal told you that life is better in Europe. Because for those people, life is not better in Europe. It's better for them to stay here and to invest. Yeah. We do invest, but we really hope that the young people will invest as well.
That's very true, yeah. Unfortunately, that's a big problem. People being deceived by smugglers with the promise of reaching Western Europe. They go through hell sometimes.
Yeah. So the trip is horrible. Indeed, they go through hell, but they're also deceived in a way, like you get free money. Whereas now in practice, we see these people ending up in illegality. They get exploited. They do cheap labor, but in a very illegal way, so they don't have any rights. So that's very sad to see, and it's something that I hope we can, correct this image.
And on that topic, we have had European Union programs for people who return voluntarily or are deported. There's, I know, the ETTC, European Training Center. Do you have programs to help those who might come back from the Netherlands?
Yeah, we do. With our implementing partners, so for example, IOM, also the Kurdistan Regional government is involved, Iraqi government is involved. So there are programs to help indeed these people that return, to help them, not only bring them back if we bring them back, but indeed resettle, getting a job, and working on their future here.
That's true. That's a very important point. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
This was really enjoyable, and I always wanted to talk to you because I see your photos and travels in Kurdistan, and I know the Dutch involvement here. So this was a very good conversation.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure.
Very much.
Thanks.